Gwen Ridenauer with the Stay Empowered Classroom. Welcome back to my series of book reviews. Today we're going to continue with our theme of mythology that we've been talking about the last few weeks, but we're going to go to Africa. And I'm going to start with a couple of titles that are collections from all over the continent, and then we're going to move into some Egyptian myths. So we'll start. Our first book is A Pride of African Tales by Donna Washington. And this is a nice collection. Each story is from a different part of Africa. Gives you just a little bit of background about it and tells the story. And picture book format, lovely illustrations. It's a great way to it's a good introduction to some African tales. And the next book I will show you is African Mythology. And this one is it's by ABDO and Daughters. This is a whole series. There's one African, Chinese, Egyptian, European, Greek, etc. Not my favorite series, but it's something that's there and it has some good information. It's more of a textbook format. The text is just more straightforward. So if you wanted to just get some solid information as a launching point to discover and discuss some of these myths, this might be a good place to start. But more of an informational resource reference selection. Now for the fun stuff, and we're going to Egypt here because there's so many more resources about Egyptian mythology than there are about other parts of Africa or African collections as a whole. We taught, if you recall, Marcia Williams came up before, and with the Iliad and the Odyssey book. I really do like her a lot, and this one is called Ancient Egypt, Tales of Gods and Pharaohs, and it's very much that Marcia Williams style, comic strip. She is so great about echoing the origins of the literature and the stories that she's referencing. And even though she keeps her comic style, she keeps her artistic style, the illustrations, they are drawn in more of that two-dimensional look of what we think of as Egyptian paintings, that are Egyptian paintings. And again, the text is more modern, but she makes lots of references to some of these original tales and original paintings, and just so much going on here. This is a book that you can spend a lot of time with, just exploring different parts. There's a couple of large fold-outs in here too, so it's another element of treat. So check that one out. And this one is by National Geographic Kids, and it's a treasury of Egyptian mythology, classic stories of gods, goddesses, monsters, and mortals, by Donna Napoli. And this one is absolutely spectacular. I love the look of this book. It reminds me, the illustrations remind me a little bit of Gustav Klimt. And I'm a big Klimt fan. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Just beautiful. And it's filled with this kind of stuff. And each section is a different story. So there's another. Well, that was convenient. Two beginnings. But the text follows with the stories, and great stuff. Highly recommend this book. The last two are for a slightly younger crowd. I've talked about this series before in the Greek mythologies section. This is by Capstone, and these are some Egyptian stories. This is Isis and Osiris, and this one is the Prince and the Sphinx. And check these out. Picture book format, younger crowd, but a great way to introduce some of these independent stories. So I hope that's helpful to you, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Hey, before you go, I've got a couple more choices for you for African mythology that I forgot to add in the original film, and I changed my shirt too, just for you. First of all, we're going to go with African myths and legends. This is kind of for your younger readers, or not your younger readers, elementary school, I would say even middle school. It's a nice little overview of some different African myths. This might be a nice place to start to find specific stories, to go find specific titles about stories that are referenced in this book. And it gives you some context for the stories as well, where they came from and why. So check that one out. There's a whole series of these books. There's Egyptian, Norse, Roman, so check these out, definitely. And then this one, it's really funny, is called Anubis Speaks. And Vicky, Alvear, Shecter is the name of the author. And this is for your kids who really like the horrible histories, who really like also the Lemony Snicket books. So it's told by Anubis. It's narrated by Anubis. And they're stories that it's just a regular old chapter book novel kind of thing. But they're stories that the author chose specifically to gross the reader out or to give them a little bit of creep factor. So, and it's kind of fun. So check it out. Check these two and add those to your African mythology choices, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.